What I have here this time is obviously Pennywise the Clown from It. It's another Mezco figure. And this is the very rare Mezco figure I collect or bought that is not a DC character. You could have a whole collection just based on DC characters or Marvel if that's what you want, because they produce a ton of those. But they do produce other things, a lot of other lines. But this is just one single figure they did, which is Pennywise. And I'm actually not even a huge fan of Pennywise the Clown. I watched the new movies. I really enjoyed the first one, and not so much the second one, part two. But I really liked the way he looked. But I think that Pennywise is a perfect example of where Mezco shines, and that's in the outfit. And so it's all cloth. You could see that the detail is just amazing. It looks kind of dirty. This is the way it was out of the box. I don't know if these were glued on purposely kind of off center, but you could see that they're not perfect on there. And it really looks like just a perfect interpretation of the character in 1/12 scale. There are a lot of extras, accessories for the character. Balloon, was a severed arm, paper boat. But I really just keep those in boxes. So I'll show you kind of an example of why I like Mezco and compare it to another company. And nothing against the other company. It's just this is why I like Mezco so much. So here we have Big Bad Toy Store, and the first one up there is Pennywise at $100, and that's what it was starting, $100. And I assume it's because of the cloth outfit. It's just pretty detailed, and the accessories, quite a bit of accessories. So that was $100. It's still in stock. And then we have down here, well, we have Hot Toys, which is $266. All of these are still in stock. So, like I was saying in another video, these figures can sell out very quickly, but it really depends upon the license. And so I assume that Pennywise is not as in demand as some of the other characters. So here's Mafex, and Mafex is all plastic. So if we go down here, made of plastic. Some people like that, some people prefer that. So I'm sure that he can do, let's see, there he's doing his dance, kicking his feet up, all sorts of different things. So from a posability standpoint, I think a figure like this is superior. And if you want to play with him, he'd be more durable. I don't know how many people want to go out and buy a $105 figure and then play with it. Like I said, I put mine on a shelf and there it sits. But if I pull it off the shelf, I can touch that cloth and feel it and feel the authenticity. And I think for a horror character like Pennywise, there's just something, I don't know, something is lost in an all plastic figure, for me, at least. This looks like something much more horrifying. In fact, my daughter saw this and she was a little scared of the figure. She's a bit young, but this is just the appearance of it is frightening, and I think that something is lost here. And I have no offense to, or it's no offense to Mafex Medicom. And it is interesting that it's actually slightly more expensive for the all plastic figure than it is the cloth figure. 6.3 inches. Let's see. This is 6.7. So I'm surprised. I actually thought that the Mafex was bigger, But according to that, this is bigger. I'm a little surprised by that. But this is a perfect example of why I love Mezco, and I think a lot of people love Mezco, is the authenticity and the feel of the fabric. Of course, it's going to be more uh, prone to damage. But if you just have it sitting there, I mean, if you play with it, yeah. But I don't play with the figures. They're there for display purposes. The one problem with this figure has actually the most acute example of a problem that I have with a bunch of these Mezco figures, and that is that the ankles are essentially frozen. They don't move at all. So in order for me to have Pennywise standing without a brace, I need to lean him forward. It shouldn't be like that. You should be able to move the ankles so that he can stand on his own. I mean, I've had him standing on a shelf for quite a while, and he's never fallen over, but I don't feel like you should be having him lean forward in order to stand properly. A company like Mezco, with the cost of the figures, so this was $100. Some are as low as 80, some are as high as 120. You should be able to get the ankles right. It shouldn't be that difficult to get the ankles. But a lot of the figures, this one is the worst though. And you can see even at the worst, he still does stand on his own. It's just I have to kind of bend him forward in order to make him stand on his own. But I think this one is a great example of why I love Mezco, why a lot of people love Mezco. It's the authenticity. Some figures maybe are better as plastic. I don't know that I'd want a Mezco Robocop unless they did something really special. It just doesn't, Mezco does Iron Man also. They have at least one Iron Man. And it just doesn't feel like Iron Man plays to their strength. But I think Pennywise absolutely plays to their strength. So there you go.